It's another edition of PENSDOWN, where we sit with journalists and talk about their journalism journeys. The people that bring the news and stories to us go through a lot. It is only this platform that gives you the opportunity to have a peek into the behind the scenes issues that affect them directly. Joining me today is a multiple award-winning documentary filmmaker and broadcast journalist. He was head of documentaries desk of TV Africa before he ventured into full-time documentary production. He has won a number of fellowships, which include One World Media Fellow, UK, where he produced a documentary on the Etiwa Forest in Ghana. In 2019, he was a fellow of the 100 Reporters USA. He produced a documentary on the use of mineral royalties in two mining towns, Prestia and Daman, all in the western region of Ghana. The same 2019, he was a fellow of Natural Resource Governance Institute, USA. He produced a documentary on mining in Ghana. He is also a recipient of so many awards. 2017, he got the special award from the Ghana Journalists Association for reporting on Galamsey. In the same 2017, at the Ghana Mining Industry Awards organized by the Ghana Chamber of Mines, his documentary, A Critical Water Tower in Danger, won the Best Mining Report of the Year. Galamsey, The Other Side, which is another documentary, won the Best Mining Report of the Year in 2016 by the Ghana Chamber of Mines. Trading Ghana's Water for Gold was nominated for the Best Mining Documentary at the 2015 Zimeo Awards in South Africa. During the film festivals, his documentary, Trading Ghana's Water for Gold, again won the Best Documentary at the Environmental Film Festival, which was held in Accra in 2014. He was adjudged the Best Documentary Maker at the Environmental Film Festival in the same year, 2014. Joining me today for a conversation on his journalism journey is my colleague, Edem, Srem. My brother, you are welcome.
Thank you.
How have you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been so long.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's look at how you got into journalism. There were a lot of professions. There was accounting, banking, medicine, any other thing. Why journalism for you?
Even public relations.
Exactly.
When I was in school, my favorite subject or course was public relations.
Oh.
So my classmates actually knew that if nobody at all from the class will practice PR, and then we'll practice PR. Because once the lecturer mentions the name of a book, I'm sure in the next few days I'll buy the book. So, well, I used to like public relations.
Okay.
But I think things changed when we went for national service, when I did my service with GBC Radio Bolga.
Okay.
So I started national service there. Then I was enrolled on a British Council and National Service sponsored program, which was an exchange program in the UK. So it requires that I continue my national service in the UK.
Okay.
So while I was in the UK, I did attachment with BBC Radio Devon in Plymouth. So that's where, like, my public relations, should I say, appetite changed to journalism. So, because if you look at how the BBC guys behaved, even with radio documentaries and all that, it was interesting. So I realized that, okay, fine. I don't want to be a person that will be telling stories of companies when they do wrong or when they want to be seen in the good light or something.
Yeah.
So I'd rather become a journalist and tell stories that nobody wants to tell, and tell both the good and bad stories of companies when they do good or wrong. Yeah, so that's how come I abandoned PR and rather chose journalism.
What has been the most difficult assignment you've had to cover? Be it a documentary or a straight news reporting assignment, which is the most difficult?
Well, so in practicing journalism all these years, from GBC Bulgar to TV Africa, and even to my freelancing, I don't do what we call sit-down assignments.
Okay.
If I'm in the newsroom and you send me to a conference, I'll either produce something different from the conference you've sent me to, or I'll not go at all. Because I want to tell people stories that need to be told, stories that will change society.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you ask, one of the most difficult productions I've done will be the trading Ghana's water for gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us, give us some gist about what you went through.
So in producing that documentary, we don't want to call it investigative, but at a point we want to call it investigative because we were looking at how illegal miners were polluting the water sources we have. So we set out on the field to Kumasi, to Magazine, where the parts of the machine they use on the water bodies are manufactured.
Okay.
So there was the fear that if anybody knows that we are going to, it's a documentary, we are producing, that is going to unearth what they were doing, the atrocities they were causing to the water sources. Then they will attack us. Then, but fortunately, nobody attacked us in Kumasi.
Okay.
But on the field, when we were approaching the Galamsey site itself, there was one place at Chichure in the central region that we approached one Galamsey site, and a boy pulled out a machete on us.
Just like that?
Just like that. But fortunately for us, we had support from national security, so we were giving some sort of military support. So, but they were not in the military uniform, so you will not know that they are national security operatives. Yeah, so they were able to apprehend the boy, and then they asked him some questions, and so now the miners saw that we were with the military or police, so they backed off. Then there was one at Chifopra, so we went deep into the bush. We were searching for them, and they were on the Pra River. So so when they saw us, some removed guns, and but again our officers who were tasked to protect us were able to handle the situation.
So you mean what we have been seeing on TV, that Galamsey operatives are armed to the teeth, is a reality?
Yes, it's a reality. About 99% of the sites you go, they have tools for protection, and that includes guns and ammunition.
After that incident where there was a machete pulling on you and all that, yes, of course, you escaped. When you got back, or when you retired that evening, were you having second thoughts about your assignment, or you were still poised to complete it?
No. So for me, if I'm doing something, unless I end.
Okay.
So I have a principle, or should I say, a tagline, which I always say that I am a 100 years war fighter. So even if it will take me 100 years to achieve what I have to achieve, I'll go ahead to do it. So I didn't have any thoughts of stopping the assignment. Yeah.
Where did you learn how to handle the camera?
On the job, not from school. Anyway.
Was the BBC opportunity a part of that learning process?
Yeah, it was part of that learning process, and it's practical work, because BBC, they do practical stuff, like produce the thing and let's see. Yes, it's not about teaching or saying, oh, this man wrote that when you are filming you should do this, do that. No, it's all by experience and practicality on the ground.
The documentaries you do touch on very sensitive matters that border on national safety, public safety, and national security. What has kept you going all these years, despite the obvious dangers that you have to grapple with in the way?
Well, so journalism, as you may know or see, is a calling. It's just like a pastor saying that he is called by God. Journalism is also a calling, and it's a profession which is driven by passion and love. So when you have love for people, love for the environment, and love for the earth, and you are a journalist, you don't stop. You continue to tell stories that impact on society, that change society, that move society, that move people to take action. Yeah.
How did you settle on environmental reporting as a specialty? There are various areas. There is sport reporting, there is sports reporting, there is business reporting, there is finance, there is educational reporting. There are so many areas. Why environmental reporting?
Okay, so the environment is life. It is the vegetation that produces the rains. And if the vegetation is gone, there will be no rains. And if there are no rains, the rivers will run dry. Right. And if there is no water, it means there is no life. Yeah, so that is why I decided to do environmental reporting as my main focus. Because telling stories about the environment actually keeps people who are supposed to be in charge on their toes. It also tells the people around these environments that this is what we have, and it is one Earth. Well, scientists might have said they've discovered Mars, life forms on Mars and all that, but how sustaining would that be? And even how true is that? That their findings are true, that there is life support on Mars for humans. Yeah, so it just like, so telling environmental stories is making sure that we are taking care of God's creation, which God's creation which sustains man on earth.
How have you been able to raise a team that think like you to keep moving with you despite all these dangers?
Yeah, so what happens is that the team that I have a strong team, and they also believe that at least whilst we do corporate documentaries for companies and organizations to make some money for ourselves, we also need to tell social stories. And they believe in the social stories that we tell, that it will change lives and to change the country. So that's why they are still with me.
If we are to, you have done almost 15 years, if not more, in journalism. Am I right?
2009 to now.
2009 to now. 2019 is 10 years. So that's about some 13 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I say you have done almost 15 years.
Yeah.
If we are to go back into time 20 years for you to choose a new career, will it still be journalism? And why?
Well, as I indicated earlier, journalism is a core, and it's driven by passion. And for me, if time should turn back 20 years, I'll still choose journalism.
What drives you?
Yeah, so the driver is the passion to tell the stories of the unknown places or areas or people. Yeah.
How many more years do you want to continue in journalism before, in your case, hanging your camera? I won't say your pen.
Well, for me, it can take me as long as the last breath.
Does journalism pay?
In Ghana, journalism does not pay. It's quite unfortunate that journalism doesn't pay. So even my young friends that want to go into journalism, I tell them the situation on the ground, and I advise them that, well, they should choose wisely. If you are not maybe strong-willed to do your own thing, maybe media consulting or film productions, and you are in the mainstream media, just a reporter or just a journalist, it will be very hard for you to make ends meet. Unless maybe you are on the TV as a presenter. And one unfortunate thing on Ghanaian television is that they respect the presenters more than the journalists who bring the stories for the presenters to broadcast or read. So because the presenter is appearing on the TV, or we hear his or her voice on the radio, they are paid more than we, the reporters, who risk our lives into the the hinterlands to bring the stories. Yeah.
Should journalists be licensed?
Yes.
Your reason?
I believe that just like the medical profession or the law profession, journalism is also a profession that should be licensed. Like journalists are supposed to be licensed. This is because over the years, a lot of media houses have come into the system. There are a lot of mushroom media training schools across the country. And people think that because you can talk, then and you happen to be on radio, then you are a journalist. Yeah, but if let's say GJ, for instance, is up to the task, then journalists should be licensed, and in that way, we'll know who really did a 2-year, 4-year training as a journalist, and who did a 6-month training as a journalist, and who can talk just because of talking's sake. The person is on radio or TV, or just because the person has a so-called handsome or beautiful face, they are on TV or.
This is interesting. Now, some of the perspective that have been shared on this platform in respect of the question is that licensing journalists amounts to licensing speech or freedom of speech. Is that your own thinking?
No. Then why do we have quack doctors? Then everybody should be able to practice medicine or law. Because if I can talk and I go to the court and I pose as a lawyer and I talk and I defend myself, does that make me a lawyer? No, it doesn't make me a lawyer. So if you can talk, it doesn't make you a journalist. Yes, because most of these presenters on radio and TV, if you say they should do reporting, actual journalistic reporting, they can't do it. Yes. And journalism is not about asking questions. It's about telling stories. Yes. So you're sitting on radio in the morning and you ask questions and you say you're a journalist. No.
That's a lot of controversy you are throwing out there.
No. Even those who practice it know. They should know. And they should stop making it look as if they are journalists. They are not journalists. You are just a presenter. Sitting there for journalists to go investigate or write stories for you to read out. Which is one of the best jobs you can get. You just sit down, somebody will write the story for you, and you sit on TV or radio and you read it out, or you say it, or you ask questions on TV or radio. That's the best job you can get.
The use of the word best here means easy, right?
Yes, easy. It's easy.
What is your assessment of the quality of journalism in Ghana today?
Well, for me, the quality of journalism in Ghana, I would say, has declined so fast and so quick that it's no more interesting, because then politicians have been able to penetrate into the media landscape. So most of the journalists are what we call stomach journalists, because they are thinking of what they will eat. So, and at a point, you wouldn't want to blame them, because if you have media houses that are paying journalists as low as 450 cedis, 500 cedis, 800 cedis a month, then if a politician comes and say, okay, do my bidding, and then I'll be paying you 2,000 a month, yeah, the journalists will be quick in accepting this offer, because the pay is not good. So because of that, the quality has reduced, And even those that are not in the pockets of the politicians, that are on their own, is only few that are doing actual journalism. So, for instance, if you send someone to cover a conference, the person comes and just do a story on the conference as it were. But in hardcore journalism, you need to go beyond the conference.
That's right.
So if the conference is talking about the dollar, you don't just come and tell us what the Bank of Ghana wants to do to rescue the CD or something. You go to the market and speak to people who deal in currencies, and you speak to them. So that makes you a different journalist. So there are instances that when I was at TV Africa, I was sent to some few conferences and all that. And when I come, even the conference itself, I don't even use people speaking at the conference. Because I always believe that you've written the thing you are coming to tell us. It's premeditated. You know what you want to come and say.
That's right.
So all these things make journalism in the country to fall. And also, as I said earlier, people accepting, or people excuse me, people believing that presenters are journalists. So whatever those presenters say becomes like the authority. Yes. So it's, and also the springing up or the existence of the mushroom journalism schools, whereby you go for 3 weeks or 2 months or 3 months, and you are giving a so-called journalism certificate or something.
I saw one on Facebook about a week or so ago, 2 weeks diploma in journalism.
Yes. So all these institutes or institutions are springing up, and nobody is taking a critical look at them to make sure that it stops. So that is why the quality of journalism is declining in the country.
I see. A number of trained journalists are abandoning the crafts. Some of them are venturing into PR. Others are going into entirely different fields unrelated to communication. I'm sure you have colleagues who have equally abandoned the crafts and are looking for survival elsewhere. What are they telling you? What is the reason for this attrition that is going on?
It's money. It's money. And if you don't have the passion to do journalism, once an offer comes which is better than your current salary, you leave journalism and go for that job. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people have to feed themselves and their families and do other things for themselves. So people leaving the journalism field in Ghana is mostly about money. If you watch the international scene, it's hard for journalists to just abandon journalism and go to do PR or something else, because the journalism pays very much.
Let me find this out. What is your take on Solly?
Well, there was a time I formed a Facebook page called Journalists Against Solly, and all the journalists, yes, but most of the journalists that were part did not support the idea that journalists should not take Solly. So, the group didn't go far because there was no membership. Maybe I was the only member. And yes, for me, I don't support Solly because There have been several instances where you go to assignments and you see journalists waiting for the solely before they go. No, it shouldn't be like that. But again, it all boils down to the salaries they pay journalists and media workers. Because the salaries are not enough, they tend to support themselves with the solely that they get. Yeah, so you see journalists that their life totally depend on the solely that they receive from assignments that they go. So such journalists, if you ask them to go and do a village story, they will not go because they know that they will not get anything from the village. Yeah.
Well, so by this analysis, are you then saying that to some extent Solé is justified, that somebody is not well paid or underpaid?
Yes, if people are underpaid, then Solé in a way is justified. But if there is a case that they are well paid, then Solé will not be justified. Yeah.
You talk about the diminishing quality of journalistic practice in Ghana. What are we looking at? Is it just the journalists who are not deep enough now, or maybe some of the training institutions are also not offering quality?
Well, for that, it has always been there that some journalists are not deep enough. Some journalists are not original storytellers or storytellers on their own. And it's also that some of the institutions that are accredited are also not doing the best to help students for the job market. Because I know some institutions in US and UK that, for instance, if you are there and you want to do, let's say you are a broadcast student and you want to do your thesis in broadcast and produce a documentary as your thesis, your final thesis, you are allowed to do that. But in Ghana, everything is written.
Yes.
So the journalism institutions, there are a lot of them in Ghana that you have to write a book in the form of a thesis or project work before you are awarded a degree or a master's. Whereby if, let's say, I want to do print media. Yes, print media, people can write a thesis in form of a book. But if I want to do TV or radio, you don't force me to write. You force me to produce. And then you test the quality in the school before I come out. So by the time I come out, and even after national service and I'm looking for a job, I can use what I produce in school as part of a previous work I've done before. Yes, but these are not done in the school. So everything is book, and book. So write, read, and write the exams and pass. And I don't understand why broadcasting in Ghana, for instance, we will have to write exams on broadcasting in a journalism school. No. It shouldn't be like that. Let the people produce something.
Let me get personal with you on the back of
it's
this.
Just like maybe KNUST for all these years. It's now that they've started to produce things. It's not acceptable. A science institution, whereby in other countries, children as early as in stage 3 or class 3 are producing things. Yeah.
Let me get personal with you on the back of this, your analysis you have done. Will you at any point look at going into academia? With your wealth of experience, I'm sure you will come in handy.
Well, for the issue with academia is that in Ghana, you see, people with practical or on-the-job practical experience are often not considered suitable for academia. Why? Because they might not have a master's degree or a PhD. But they have always refused to look beyond the masters and the PhDs to know that there are people on the field that have become masters on the job and not masters of the books, of the journalism books or journalism theories. Yes, so for me, because I don't have a master's nor a PhD, though I'm not sure any journalism school want to enroll me as a lecturer.
That's too bad.
Yes, but I'm happy to say that the Academic City University has approached me to not to teach the journalism, but to teach drone flying.
I saw videos of it on your timeline.
And mapping in the school. And this is a science school, which is focusing on practicalities of doing things and not theories of things. Yeah, so I've been saying this, that look, University of Mines at Takwa, there are a lot of people in the mining sector that have gained knowledge over the years on the field. But because they don't have PhD or masters, they die with the knowledge and they don't impact it onto any other person. And the book professors and doctors are the ones that are impacting knowledge, which boils down to, in some cases or in a lot of cases, to nothing.
This is really food for thought for the way forward for this country as far as journalism is concerned.
It's not only about journalism, my brother.
Yes.
It's not only about journalism. Everywhere.
General educational system.
Yeah, there are some people that have practiced in the banking sector for years. They don't need a PhD to teach in a university. You can create or you can do certain things that will accommodate such people. Even if they are not mainstream lecturers or teachers, you should be able to at least tap from that knowledge.
Thank you very much, my brother, for this opportunity.
Thank you too.
Yeah, this has been PENSDOWN. I've had my colleague here, Edem Srem. He is a broadcast journalist and a documentary filmmaker. If you need the best in terms of documentaries, be you a private client or some corporate clients, is just a call away. Just get in touch with me and I'll link you up. He does the work best. He's one of the best and the finest I know. It's been PENSDOWN, Journalism Journeys. That's what we talk here. We'll be back next time when another person takes the seat. So we talk their journalism journey. Thank you for being with us.